Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, whenever you're watching this video. I hope you're having a good day. In this video, I want to address the three questions of why we use crosstab tables. Um, Specifically, why are they used, why are they typically ignored, and why are they so useful? Why are they used? Well, we typically use them to search for relationships between categorical variables. It's very common to use crosstab tables in your initial analysis of data. Now, the problem with that is you start running into a scenario where you start identifying relationships without being guided by a research question, and you start modifying the question post facto. That's not a good thing to do. What you want to do is make sure that when you use crosstabs, you are driven by the question first. So, for example, if we look at this table, I'm sitting here, I should be driven by the question, is there a relationship between gender and ethnicity for this sample in some sort of research program? Okay? It's not a question of, let's go get some data, they're both categorical, let's create some crosstab tables. Okay? That's not what they're used for. They're used to look at the relationships between two categorical variables when that is my initial question. If we go to the internet, here's a perfect example of what I'm talking about. Someone obviously was doing some sort of study between anxiety and tension. And I don't know how they measured it. I don't know how they identified someone with low or high anxiety or tension, but they did. They had a total of 48 individuals, and they were able to show here's 5 that have low anxiety and low tension. 21 have low anxiety and high tension, and so on and so forth. Now, UCLA has some really good information on SPSS, and that's why this video, I chose to put this in there. If you're still having some discomfort with crosstabs, it's a great place to go. But I'm using this to answer that why question. Why are they ignored? Well, typically crosstab tables get ignored because they're hard to interpret. When you start adding all of these numbers, all of these percentages on top of your count, it gets a little confusing to some readers, and so they don't take the time to look at it. And this goes back to an earlier video when I suggested when you build crosstabs, you might want to consider just putting in your totals, your count data. Don't put in percentages. It gets a little confusing for some people. Know your audience. If you think your audience can handle it, fine. Put in the percentages. But make sure that it's also something that you plan on writing about. If you're not going to be writing about these percentages, then don't put them in there just to put them in there. The reader doesn't care. They're not going to look at them, and it wastes everyone's time. Why are crosstab tables so useful? If you really begin to understand how to read a crosstab table, then it goes back to previous discussions on frequency distribution tables. If I really understand how these variables are distributed across each other, I can start to identify some very quick trends. And that's the reason why I brought this table up. I start looking at crosses. I look at the cross distributions. If I have low anxiety, I have low tension. If I have high anxiety, I have high tension. Here I have low anxiety and high tension, and high anxiety and low tension. And so I start looking at these relationships and starting to see, hey, can I identify some relationship? If I have my numbers here and here and they constitute the majority, then there's likely a relationship between the two variables. If these two are your highest, then there may or may not be a stronger relationship. And these are the kinds of things that we think about when we start looking at data. Long before I see any fancy binary logistic regression model, I can already start to see relationships. And that's why they're useful. They provide information to the deep reader of statistics, information that can be used to guide their thought process as they get deeper into that dissertation or deeper into the research. Hope this video has answered some questions. Hope it's raised some questions. If it has, please let us know. Otherwise, I hope you have a good day.